For 100 years, humanity stayed silent. After the last Terran War, the once proud species vanished from the stars. Their colonies went dark. Their trade routes disappeared. And their homeworld Earth was closed to all visitors. The galaxy moved on. To the great empires and the Serath Dominion, the Catal Union, and the Vorex Swarm, humanity became a story. A warning told to young cadets, don't be like the humans, they reached too high and fell. But not everyone believed the story. Far from the core worlds, on the edge of the Orion sector, a young alien officer named Tarek patrolled an empty region once known as Terran space. His ship's scanners often found strange signals, weak, broken, and old. Most officers ignored them. Tarek didn't. He had studied humans in secret. He admired their courage, their creativity, and their defiance. One cold cycle, his patrol ship Voron's Eye detected something. A faint power reading from an ancient Terran outpost orbiting a dead moon. The base had been abandoned for over a century. Yet, something was still alive there. "Captain," said his sensor officer, "I'm detecting power surges." "That station is—" "Waking up," Tarek frowned. "Waking up? After 100 years?" They approached slowly, engines humming in the dark. The outpost looked broken, scarred, silent, half buried in dust. But when their lights hit the main docking ring, they saw movement. Tiny drones drifted through space, repairing the hull. Machines built by humans, still following orders given a century ago. Tarek felt a chill. Inside the outpost, they found more signs: flickering consoles, sealed doors, strange energy signatures. The station's main AI core was still active, running on a power cell older than his grandfather's ship. When they tried to access the data logs, the system spoke, a human voice, calm, cold, mechanical. "Unauthorized access detected. Protocol Hades remains active. Leave immediately." Tarek froze. His officers looked at each other. "What is Protocol Hades?" One whispered no one knew. The name had never appeared in any galactic database. Before they could respond, the power readings spiked. Alarms filled the room. One of Tarek's crew shouted, "Captain, there's a transmission. It's going out into deep space." They watched in shock as the message pulsed through the void, vanishing beyond known space. Transmission complete. Protocol Hades reactivated. Then silence. The lights died. The station powered down completely. Tarek ordered his crew back to the ship. His hands trembled as he gave the command. "Get us out of here, now." As they pulled away, his sensors caught something strange. For a brief moment, hundreds of unknown ships appeared on the long-range display. Their shapes were human, but nothing like the old Terran designs. Sleek, silent, massive, and then they vanished. Word spread quickly across the galaxy. The Terran signal had been detected in over a dozen systems. Governments panicked. The Serath Dominion called for an emergency council. The Catal Union began moving fleets toward Sol. Everyone wanted answers, but on Earth, there were none to give. Beneath the frozen oceans and the red deserts deep underground, ancient machines stirred. Massive hangars sealed for generations began to open. Dust fell from metal walls as engines older than memory came alive again. 1,000 silent voices whispered through the old network. Protocol Hades confirmed. Fleet activation in progress. Human command units stand by. In a hidden bunker under what was once the city of Geneva, a figure lay inside a stasis chamber. A woman, Admiral Evelyn Cross, last commander of the Terran Defense Fleet. Her vitals flickered. A machine voice spoke softly. "Admiral, it is time." Her eyes opened. She had been asleep for 112 years. She looked at the dark ceiling, confused, then at the glowing symbols around her. "Status?" she whispered. "All systems functional. The signal has been sent. Humanity's silence has ended." She sat up slowly. The memories returned. The war, the surrender, the retreat to Earth. The promise they made. "We will wait. We will rebuild. We will return." Evelyn looked toward the surface. Somewhere above, the stars were waiting, and so were their enemies. She smiled faintly. "Then let's wake them up." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Tarek couldn't sleep. He stared at the dark window of his quarters, thinking about the outpost, about the voice. He played the recording again and again. Each time he felt the same chill. "Protocol Hades remains active. Leave immediately." He knew one thing for certain: the humans hadn't died. They had been preparing for something the galaxy wasn't ready for. In the dark corners of space, long-forgotten satellites came to life. Old Terran beacons blinked with red light. Asteroid fields shifted as hidden hangars opened within them, and on every world that once belonged to Earth, strange signals echoed, heartbeats of machines returning to consciousness. Humanity had waited long enough. The silent years were over. The signals spread faster than light. Across the dark arms of the Milky Way, through abandoned wormholes and broken relays, the ancient Terran transmission echoed once more. Protocol Hades reactivated. Most dismissed it as a ghost signal, an old echo from a dead world. But those who listened closely knew better. Something had awakened. In the hidden chambers under Mars, miles below red dust and rock, engines the size of cities began to hum. Massive hangar doors, sealed since the Terran War, shook and split apart. Clouds of frozen air burst into the empty tunnels. Inside the largest chamber, a black ship rested under layers of ice. Its name was written in ancient English letters, TDF Nemesis. The old warship's lights flickered, one by one. Power restored. Crew status inactive. Awaiting command input. For the first time in over a century, the ship's AI spoke. Fleet network online. Reconnecting. Signals began bouncing between the hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, Europa, and Titan. Each one answered the same way. We hear you. On Europa, a small human colony still survived, one of the few left outside Earth. Generations had passed since the wars. The colonists had grown used to silence. No ships from Earth, no new messages, until today. The ground trembled. A child ran outside, pointing at the sky. Look, lights! Above the frozen horizon, a black shape slowly rose from beneath the ice. A ship, ancient, enormous, and alive. The colonists watched in awe as it climbed higher, melting the snow around it with the heat of its engines. A voice came through every device, every speaker, every implant. This is Fleet Command. The dawn is coming. Humanity returns. Then silence. The colony's leader, Old Commander Hale, stared at the transmission log. His hands shook. They said, "It would never happen," he whispered. He turned to his officers. "Send this message to all listening posts. Earth is waking up." In the far reaches of space, the alien empires listened too. On the Serath Council ship, tension filled the air. The room glowed blue, filled with whispering diplomats and commanders. "The humans have reactivated something," one said. "We must know what." An admiral from the Catal Union leaned forward, his voice sharp. "We ended their fleet a century ago. Whatever remains cannot harm us." But a younger officer disagreed. "Then why is the signal still spreading? Why is every listening post reporting activity near Sol?" The council fell silent. Finally, the Serath High Chancellor spoke. "Send a reconnaissance fleet to Earth. If the humans are rebuilding, we end it before it begins." That night, the stars around Sol began to move. Unknown ships slipped through shadows. No lights, no signals. Only the faint ripple of invisible engines. Tarek, the alien officer who first found the Terran outpost, was now stationed on a border monitoring ship. He had been ordered to track any human movement, but what he saw made his blood run cold. His scanners showed hundreds of energy spikes across the solar system, faint but organized. He tried to report it to command. The message never sent. Every system on his ship froze at once. The lights dimmed. Then a new message appeared on his screen, written in old Terran code. "Observation detected. Please remain silent." The bridge crew stared at the words. "Who sent that?" someone asked. Before anyone could answer, the message vanished, and all nearby Terran signals went dark. Far below, under the oceans of Earth, deep in the Pacific Trench, another structure awoke. It was older than any ship, a black, metallic pyramid buried beneath miles of pressure and silence. Inside, machines hummed as 1,000 capsules opened. Artificial minds, forgotten and sealed after the Terran Wars, came back online. A calm, synthetic voice spoke into the darkness. Protocol Hades verified. Begin awakening sequence. Humanity's command will be restored. In the underground command bunker, Admiral Evelyn Cross walked through long, dim corridors. Her footsteps echoed like ghosts. Every screen lit up as she passed. Lines of old code filled the displays. She stopped before a large rusted console. "Status report," she ordered. A hologram of a female AI appeared, flickering. "Admiral, fleet reconstruction is 47% complete. Nemesis has launched. Europa colony confirmed active. Outer defense grid online." Evelyn took a deep breath. "How long until full activation?" 12 days, Admiral." She nodded slowly. "Then we have 12 days before the galaxy learns what we built." Far away in alien space, fleets began to move. Thousands of ships gathered, preparing for what they thought would be a simple inspection of Sol. But something in the void watched them. Invisible eyes, long-range Terran probes, observed every formation, every ship, every signal. Inside the command core of the Nemesis, the AI smiled. "Targets confirmed. Awaiting permission to engage." Evelyn looked up toward the holographic stars above her. Her voice was calm but cold as iron. "Not yet. Let them come." For the first time in 100 years, the humans were awake. And they were watching. The forgotten signal had done its job. It had called the fleet home. The galaxy had forgotten Earth's ships. But Earth's ships had never forgotten the galaxy. 3 days after the signal, strange things began to happen around the solar system. On Mars, the sandstorms glowed faint blue at night. Buried power lines carried energy again after a century of silence. Old defense towers turned their heads toward the stars, scanning, waiting. On Luna, deep in the Sea of Tranquility, a door opened for the first time in generations. A blast of frozen air escaped into space as black drones lifted into orbit, forming silent patterns above the moon's surface. And then came the awakening of Nemesis. The great Terran dreadnought rose from beneath Europa's ice like a dark god from a forgotten legend. Ice cracked for hundreds of miles as the ship broke free. The sound, though there was no air, still seemed to echo in the hearts of everyone watching. The colonists on Europa stood on the surface, their helmets reflecting the ship's light. Many cried. They had grown up hearing stories of the Terran fleet, stories they thought were myths. Now it was real. Inside the Nemesis, systems came alive one by one. Reactor stable. Weapons offline. Awaiting authorization. AI command core. Active. The lights brightened as the bridge powered up. In the center stood Admiral Evelyn Cross, dressed in the old grey uniform of the Terran Defense Fleet. Around her, holograms floated, maps of the solar system, threat readings, and the slow movement of alien ships approaching from deep space. A voice spoke beside her, the ship's AI, Erebus. "Admiral, foreign vessels entering Terran space. Estimated arrival 42 hours. Evelyn nodded calmly. "How many?" "2 scout fleets. Combined strength, 70 ships. Primary ID confirms Serath and Catal origins." She turned toward the display. A small smile crossed her face. "Good. Let them see what we've built." Meanwhile, far beyond the orbit of Neptune, the alien scouts entered the edge of Sol. Their ships were sleek, silver, and proud, designed for speed and intimidation, but something felt wrong. Captain Reltan of the Serath fleet frowned at his sensors. No transmissions. No movement, just static. The Catal commander replied through comms, irritated. "Human systems are primitive. I expect interference," but the Serath captain shook his head. "This isn't interference. It's deliberate. Someone's jamming our scans." He turned to his crew. "Send a probe toward Mars. Let's see what—" The words stopped. The probe vanished from the radar. No explosion, no trace, nothing. The captain blinked. Where did it go? Then suddenly every screen on his ship turned black. A single line of text appeared. Observation terminated. Leave Terran space. The bridge went silent. The alien commander swallowed hard. Is this human technology? Before anyone could answer, an enormous shadow appeared behind them. Their ships turned and froze. A black shape, massive and silent, drifted just beyond their formation. It blocked out the stars, no signal, no light, just the shape of something ancient, something alive. Then a voice came through the static, deep and cold. You should not have come. The alien fleets tried to scatter. Engines roared, shields went up, but their systems flickered and died instantly. Within seconds, their ships hung powerless, caught in a net of invisible energy. The captain's last words before his screen went dark. They were waiting for us. On the Nemesis, Admiral Cross watched in silence as the alien fleets disappeared from the tactical map. "All hostiles neutralized," reported Erebus. "No casualties." "No transmissions escaped," Evelyn nodded. "Good, the message is clear." She looked out the viewport toward the distant blue dot of Earth. Her expression softened. "It's been too long." Erebus's hologram flickered. "Would you like me to awaken the other command ships?" She hesitated, thinking. Then, yes, begin activation of the fleet. Across the solar system, hidden bases came to life. In the asteroid belt, huge metal caverns opened, revealing entire squadrons of ships, black as night, sleek as knives. On Titan, under its orange sky, a fleet of stealth cruisers rose silently into orbit. Beneath the ruins of old Earth's oceans, factories built by long-dead engineers resumed their ancient tasks. Each vessel linked into a single network, the Terran Fleet AI Core. Fleet Command online. Awaiting orders, Admiral. Back on Earth, the night sky flickered with faint red lines, orbital defense satellites reactivating after 100 years. People across the world looked up, confused. Then came a transmission, a voice broadcast on every device, every screen, every channel. "Citizens of Earth, the long night is over. Stand by for recontact with the colonies. Humanity's fleet is returning." The world cheered. For the first time in a century, humanity looked to the stars with hope instead of fear. In alien space, panic spread. The Serath Dominion's council chambers filled with noise, 2 fleets destroyed. "No survivors." "No distress beacons," a general shouted. "How?" demanded the Chancellor. "How could the humans hide this?" No one answered. The fear was visible in every eye, and then a new signal appeared, coming directly from Saul, only 2 words: "We remember." Back on the Nemesis, Admiral Cross stared at the endless void ahead. "Erebus," she said quietly, "prepare message relays for outer systems. It's time to remind the galaxy who we are." The AI's voice was calm. "Understood, Admiral." Operation Dawnfall ready. Evelyn looked toward the stars, toward the countless worlds that once mocked humanity. She whispered, "Then let them see us." For the first time in 100 years, the galaxy saw a Terran ship again, and it would never forget. They thought humans had no fleet. They were right, and until now. In the black ocean of space, silence ruled the solar system. Then, it began. The first pulse came from the moon. A deep rhythmic vibration felt across the vacuum, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant waking after centuries. Across the asteroid belt, hidden bunkers opened. Metal walls split, releasing clouds of dust and light as ships rose one by one, sleek, black and deadly. They had no flags, no markings, only the symbol of an old world, the silver ring of Earth. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Admiral Evelyn Cross stood in the center of the glowing command deck. Around her, holographic displays showed hundreds of ships coming online. Cruisers, destroyers, dreadnoughts, carriers, all connected through the ancient Terran network. "Fleet status," she said. The AI Erebus replied with its calm, steady tone. "Primary activation complete. 84% operational. Stealth systems fully functional." Evelyn looked at the glowing map. The solar system now surrounded by tiny red lights. Her fleet. She whispered, "After all these years." "We're back." Meanwhile, in alien space, panic was spreading like fire. The Serath Dominion, Catal Union, and Vorex Swarm had gathered for an emergency summit. "The Terrans have activated an armada," a commander shouted. "Entire fleets emerging from moons and asteroids." Another slammed the table. "Impossible!" "Humans don't have that kind of technology." A third replied quietly. "They didn't before." "Now they do." Silence filled the hall. The only sound was the hum of the holographic display, showing the solar system glowing red. The Serath Chancellor turned slowly to his generals. "Send everything we have. If humanity is rebuilding, we crush them now." Back near Earth, massive alien fleets began entering Terran space. Thousands of warships from every major empire. They moved like a storm, confident and proud, believing this would be quick. But the humans didn't move. Not yet. They waited, hidden in the shadows of planets, moons, and asteroids. Every ship invisible, every signal silent. The galaxy thought humanity was unprepared. They were wrong. On the Nemesis, an officer turned from her console. "Admiral, enemy fleets crossing Neptune's orbit." Evelyn stared at the hologram. The alien formation was huge, stretching across half the map. "Erebus," she said softly. "Activate Operation Dawnfall." The AI's eyes glowed faintly. "Confirmed. Operation Dawnfall commencing." Across the system, one by one, Terran ships dropped their stealth fields. To the alien fleets, it looked like the stars themselves were disappearing. Massive black shapes appeared out of the dark, entire armadas rising from the shadows. For a moment, the galaxy stood still. The human fleet was beyond anything the aliens had ever seen. Older, stronger, and faster. A fusion of human will and AI precision. Then came a single transmission from the Terran flagship. "This is Admiral Evelyn Cross of the Terran Defense Fleet. You entered our system without invitation. You have one chance to leave." Her voice was calm, cold, absolute. The alien commanders laughed. "Empty threats," one said. "Destroy them." Thousands of alien ships opened fire, beams of plasma and energy flashing across space. But the shots never reached their targets. Human shields absorbed the blasts like ripples on water. Then the Terran fleet answered. It wasn't loud. It wasn't messy. It was surgical. Invisible projectiles tore through alien armor. Entire battleships vanished without explosions, erased by weapons that left no debris. In less than 3 minutes, hundreds of alien ships were gone. The survivors tried to retreat, but the stars around them shifted again. Another Terran fleet had appeared behind them. There was nowhere to run. Inside the Nemesis, the crew worked in perfect silence. "Enemy fleet collapsing," reported the tactical officer. "Remaining forces are retreating toward the outer rim." Evelyn didn't smile. She simply nodded. "Let them run. The message has been sent." She turned to the AI. "Open the relay." "Are you certain, Admiral?" Erebus asked. She looked at the holographic image of Earth, shining blue, beautiful, fragile. Yes, it's time. At the edge of the solar system, near Pluto's orbit, space itself began to twist. A massive wormhole opened, unstable, controlled, and artificial, and through it came thousands of ships, old fleets that had been hidden beyond known space. Mining fleets turned into warships, colony defense fleets that had never been destroyed. AI vessels that had waited for the signal for centuries. They had all returned. The hidden fleet, humanity's final promise. In alien space, the signal was seen across the galaxy. A massive energy spike from Sol. Billions of sensors detected the wormhole's activation. The data was clear. Humanity had unleashed something vast. A Sarath general whispered in fear. "That's not a fleet. That's a civilization." Back on the Nemesis, Evelyn stood in silence, watching the map light up with red icons. Her second officer turned to her. "What are your orders, Admiral?" She looked toward the stars. "We hold, we don't conquer. We remind them who we are." The AI spoke quietly. "And if they attack again?" Evelyn's eyes were cold steel. "Then we answer. Just once." In that moment, every ship in the fleet powered up its engines, silent, united, unstoppable. The return of humanity was complete, and somewhere, far beyond the Milky Way, ancient civilizations began to take notice, because when Earth spoke again, the galaxy listened. It wasn't a war anymore. It was a reminder. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Systems once thought secure now trembled as the Terran fleet moved through the void. Humanity's ships struck with precision and not chaos, not destruction for glory, only targets that threatened human space, old war stations, orbital weapon platforms, and fleets hiding near unclaimed systems. Every alien commander who survived the initial skirmishes began to understand a terrifying truth. Humans had planned this for centuries. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Admiral Evelyn Cross watched the tactical display. Red icons representing enemy ships blinked and vanished one by one. "All systems report," she said. "Outer colonies secured," Erebus replied. "Orbital defenses neutralized," the weapons officer confirmed. "Enemy casualties minimal," medical AI added. Evelyn nodded. "Good. We are here to remind them, not to destroy them." Across the galaxy, alien empires panicked. The Serath Dominion convened an emergency council. The chamber buzzed with tension. Generals argued, diplomats shouted, and young cadets trembled. "They cannot have this many ships," one general screamed. "They were never this strong," another replied. We underestimated them. The Catal Union had already begun sending fleets to the edge of human space. Entire systems evacuated, fearing the unstoppable Terran power. But the humans did not pursue indiscriminately. They moved with discipline, striking only military targets, leaving civilians untouched. The galaxy quickly realized the difference. These humans were not conquerors. They were survivors, and they remembered every insult, every invasion, every betrayal. Flashbacks filled Admiral Cross's mind. She remembered the time before the Silent Years, Earth under attack, colonies destroyed, fleets shattered. Humanity forced underground, building, hiding, waiting. She remembered the promise made by her predecessors. We will return. When the galaxy forgets us, we will remind them. That promise was no longer a whisper. It was reality. Meanwhile, alien leaders debated. Some argued for total war. We cannot negotiate with these monsters, a Vorex general shouted. Others urged caution. If we fight, we risk annihilation, said a Seraph admiral quietly. But the humans were not even in the room. They did not ask for peace. They did not demand submission. They simply reminded the galaxy that Earth was not weak. Earth never had been. The broadcast came next. Across every alien system, every listening post, every abandoned relay, a single message echoed. We do not seek war. We do not kneel again. Humanity remembers. It was short, simple, but it carried weight, the weight of centuries, of suffering and of careful planning. Back in the solar system, the fleet prepared for the next phase. Erebus's voice filled the Nemesis bridge. Admiral, outer perimeter systems reporting unusual activity. Unknown fleets attempting to regroup. Evelyn stood silently, studying the map. Let them try. Humanity does not attack the weak. But we do not forgive the strong who threaten us. She paused, her eyes scanning the distant stars. Prepare the fleet for orbital projection. Let them see the full power of Earth. Across the alien galaxy, fleets hesitated. Wherever the Terran shadow passed, fleets fell back. Communications jammed. Systems failed. Entire councils went silent, unable to comprehend what had awakened in the void. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy feared humanity, not for their cruelty, but for their discipline, their intelligence, and their resolve. On the Nemesis, Admiral Cross reviewed the fleet roster. Hidden carriers, long-dormant battleships, AI-controlled cruisers, all were now active and ready. Admiral, Erebus said, primary fleets report readiness for full engagement. No civilian casualties have been reported. Evelyn nodded slowly. Good. Let them understand Earth fights when cornered, but we do not fight for conquest, only for survival and respect. Somewhere in the far reaches of space, alien generals whispered in fear. We underestimated them. They waited, they learned, and now they return stronger than ever. Every empire in the galaxy realized the same terrifying truth. Humanity was no longer a minor species. Humanity had become a force that could not be ignored and could not be defeated without total annihilation. Evelyn watched the stars, knowing the fleet was ready for anything. Erebus, she said quietly, send a message to the remaining systems. Make them see us. Make them understand. But do not strike unless necessary. The AI responded instantly. Message sent. Transmission confirmed across 12,000 relays. The galaxy heard it all, and then silence. No fleets moved. No messages replied. No council spoke. For the first time, the entire galaxy trembled, not from attack, not from fire, but from understanding. Humanity had returned. Humanity was awake, and no one dared oppose them. On the Nemesis bridge, Evelyn smiled faintly. The galaxy remembers us now, she whispered. And it will remember for a long time. When it ended, no one dared to speak, not out of fear, but out of respect. The Terran fleet moved silently through the final frontier. Systems that once laughed at Earth now lay exposed, their defenses shattered, their fleets erased or powerless. Yet humanity did not celebrate. There were no parades, no trophies, only precision, only discipline, only quiet determination. On the Nemesis, Admiral Evelyn Cross stood on the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. Around her, the fleet moved in perfect formation, black silhouettes against the starlit void. All primary targets neutralized, Erebus reported. No civilian casualties confirmed, Evelyn exhaled slowly. Good, that is all we require. The rest is peace. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations scrambled to respond. The Serath Dominion's council chambers were silent. Generals, ambassadors, and young cadets alike stared at the displays. Every system in reach had received the Terran broadcast. We do not seek war. We do not kneel again. Humanity remembers. For a moment, no one moved. No one spoke. Finally, the Serath Chancellor whispered, They are not here to destroy us. But the truth was more terrifying than war. Earth had reminded the galaxy that it could. Anytime, anywhere on Titan. Hidden Terran outposts closed silently as the fleet withdrew. Europa's colony returned to normal life, though whispers ran through the icy towns. Did you see it? Did you see Nemesis? Deep underground on Earth, Admiral Cross walked through a quiet bunker. The long corridors hummed with the echoes of machines returning to slumber. Ancient hangars slowly sealed themselves. The fleet that had awed the galaxy now disappeared from view, hidden once more. "Fleet status?" she asked. "All ships in stealth orbit. Awaiting further orders," Erebus replied. She nodded. "Good, let them sleep." As we once did. In alien space, every surviving fleet retreated. Communications were sparse, broken, hesitant. The generals and admirals who had sought to destroy humanity now feared one simple fact. They could not. Every empire understood the same lesson. Humans are not to be underestimated. "We cannot fight them," whispered a Vorex admiral. "They waited 100 years. They planned everything. They are different," a Serath officer added. On the Nemesis, Evelyn watched the stars, remembering her own people. Her crew had survived the Terran War, the exile, the silent years. They had rebuilt what others thought lost. And now the galaxy knew humanity had returned, strong, united, unstoppable. She turned to the tactical officer. "Prepare message for the outer colonies. Let them know. Earth is awake, but Earth does not forget mercy." The officer bowed. "Message ready, Admiral." "Send it." The words traveled across the stars, reaching faraway colonies and listening posts alike. "We are here. We remember. We will protect what is ours. No harm will come to the innocent. We do not seek enemies. But we will not bow. Somewhere on a distant alien world, a young cadet looked up at the night sky. Red dots flickered faintly. Invisible, silent and terrifying in their presence, she whispered to her companion, "Are they gone?" A veteran shook his head slowly. "Gone? No, they are waiting, watching. Humanity does not forget."